Hello, everybody. I'm Angela Tsukiji. I'm the Vice President of Member Services here at the North State Building Industry Association. First of all, I'd like to say to all of you, thank you for being a member. We're very proud to represent the home building industry, and that means we represent you. Today is our Selling Elk Grove presentation that's put on by our Sales and Marketing Council. And one of the things that I wanted to tell you is that it was just announced maybe about 4 weeks ago that National Association of Home Builders awarded our Sales and Marketing Council with Best Educational Program for these selling workshops. So today is Selling Elk Grove. Yes. Thank you. Today is Selling Elk Grove, and we are working on Selling West Sacramento as our next program in the next couple months. So the award-winning program continues in its series this year. So thank you, Sales and Marketing Council. I'll do a shout out to Elizabeth Madalonis-Wiegand. She's the one who came up with this concept. So great idea, Elizabeth. Thank you. And our committee chair for this year for our selling workshops is Leilani Sarakia with Tim Lewis Homes, so Tim Lewis Community. So thank you, Leilani. And so the other person that I want to introduce is Cornelius Burke. He's one of my coworkers here at the BIA. He's one of the legislative advocates that covers quite a wide range. I'm going to introduce him in a second. Because first I want to introduce our sponsors. We have two sponsors today. One is Chase Home Lending and the other is Ready Home Energy. And Ready Home Energy is not on the line. However, Ishmael Ramos with Chase Home Lending is. So Ishmael, did you want to say a couple words to everybody?
Yeah, I will tell you I'm excited. Keeping these going has been fantastic. So can't wait for the one for West Sac to happen. I grew up in Elk Grove in Wilton, which is just a touch right outside Elk Grove. My folks still live out there. So just like I think somebody else said on the call here, been out there a long time, well, was out there a long time. And just seeing Elk Grove, what it's become and where it's going, just simply by driving down 99 or even Highway 5. It's always a curious drive to see what else is coming up. But in regards to Chase Home Lending and myself, for builders and agents here on the call, I'm always going to advocate extended rate locks, right? Chase offers up to 1 year 360-day rate locks for customers, being that builders are a little bit behind on keeping up with demands, which is not a bad thing. We do offer some of that and very competitive on that front. So that is my plug, and I appreciate you guys giving me the spotlight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ishmael. Ishmael actually sponsors all of the selling workshops. So he's the sponsor of our award-winning program. Thank you very much, Ishmael. Appreciate you at Chase Home Lending, and we also appreciate Ready Home Energy. Thank you for always being there. So next, I would like to properly introduce to you to my friend Cornelius Burke. He is one of our legislative advocates here at the North State BIA, and he is in charge of our Urban Infill Council, our Energy Committee, Energy and Utilities Committee, and he's also in charge of Sac County or City of Sacramento, or both. It could be. So anyway, he's in charge of a lot of things around here, and he is the one that has connected us with Councilmember Kevin Spease. So with that, I'd like to say, Cornelius, would you please take over for me?
Thank you so much, Angela. Good morning, everyone. Cornelius Burke, I'm the legislative director here at the North State BIA. I'm very excited for our Selling Elk Grove series this morning. I cover a lot of jurisdictions, including the city of Elk Grove, and I'm delighted to introduce this morning Councilman Kevin Spease. Kevin grew up in Elk Grove, and after graduating from Christian Brothers High School, he served our country. He listened to the Army, National Guard, and later served in the U.S. Air Force. So thank you, Kevin, for not only serving the city of Elk Grove, but serving our nation. After 14 years of service to our great nation, he was honorably discharged and returned back home to Elk Grove and started a small business with his wife, ISSE Services. It's a cybersecurity company, and it has grown not just in Elk Grove, but also in Utah. Kevin understands business. He understands our business. He understands Elk Grove. He understands the Sacramento region. In addition to his city council duties, he's very engaged in the community. He served as a city planning commissioner, and he was president of the Rotary Club of Laguna Sunrise. He also volunteers with the Elk Grove Food Bank, and he serves with the Sacramento County Veterans Treatment Court, where he helps veterans through tough legal issues related to PTSD and other issues. In 2018, Kevin was honored by the Elk Grove Chamber of Commerce as a Citizen of the Year. Kevin graduated from the Community College of the Air Force with an associate's degree in munitions science technology, and from the University of Phoenix with a BS and MBA in business. Kevin has been happily married to his wife, Angela, for over 30 years, and together they have a son, Jeremy, and a wonderful Labradoodle named Indy Freckles. Please help me to welcome virtually our host and our speaker, Councilman Kevin Spease.
Introduction.
Good morning, everyone. And everybody can hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
fantastic.
Yes.
All right. So first, I want to say thank you very much to the BIA for having me here today. I really appreciate it. And Cornelius, you've been fantastic. I've been appreciating your assistance for quite some time now on a number of different issues. So thank you so much. All right, so I don't have a whole lot of slides prepared, and I do have some, but most of it I plan to talk through. And this is a slide that I think these kind of give like the high level details about Elk Grove. You can find all this information online, and I'm going to address some of it in a bit deeper. But today I'm here to talk about one of my favorite topics, and that, of course, is Elk Grove. And so what I'm thinking about calling this is an ode to Elk Grove. So yes, I'm an Elk Grove City Council member, but my occupation is cybersecurity. So you heard that I was in the military. After the military, got out and joined or started my own company, and we provide cybersecurity to Department of Defense weapon systems. So, as you may know, cybersecurity topics and cybersecurity experts aren't really known as great salespersons. So selling Elk Grove is a little bit of a stretch for me, and talking to, of course, fantastic sales folks like yourself, it's slightly intimidating. But when I'm talking about things that I feel passionate about, I can get pretty worked up. So I've got to tell you that I am passionate about Elk Grove because it's where I grew up. It's where I've chosen to raise my family. It's where I have my business and where I plan to die. Hopefully really far in the future. I'm not rushing it. I'm not rushing it. So in the mid 70s, my family lived in Sacramento on La Rivera Drive. And what some of you may know is that at the time, there was a guy who was known as the East Area Rapist, or also known later as the Golden State Killer. And he did some not so great things in our neighborhood. My mom and my dad were concerned about my family's safety. And so on one day, my dad came home and told us we're moving to Elk Grove. And at the time, I was about 8. So we moved to what is now known as rural Elk Grove. So if you're familiar with the corner of Sheldon and Bradshaw, where there's now a roundabout, that's where I grew up. And it was a safe place. It had great schools, but foremost, it was a great place to raise a young family. It was home. So now, since 1976, many things have changed. We became a city, our boundaries grew, and as most of you probably know, at one time, we were the fastest growing city in the United States. But one thing has stayed the same. Elk Grove is still a great place to live, to raise a family. It's a great place to live and thrive. And that's what keeps me in Elk Grove. Those are the reasons I'm proud to call Elk Grove my home. And this is why I'm committed to Elk Grove and the future. And the reality is we've got some really great things happening now and in the future. So let me dive a little bit deeper here. You may have seen recently on the news that we're going to soon have some great places to have fun. Everything old is new again at the Elk Grove Historic District's improved gathering space. It's called the Old Town Plaza. And we're about to open a new public plaza with large open air pavilion, bathrooms, and a variety of outdoor public seating and trellis structures with walkways, landscaping, lighting, and bike parking. If you recall, a long time ago, it used to be a rock and gravel location. It's morphed over the years into a parking lot, and now it is going to be very exciting. And even further to the south, some of you may have seen an old railroad facility, big brick building. We've converted it to a multi-use facility, and we've just announced an exciting new occupant, Dust Bowl Brewery. And this future tap room building is primarily made of exposed brick. And the space was historically used as a warehouse for storing wine grapes, being transported by rail in the early 1900s. And within the next year, Wilton Rancheria will open their long-awaited gaming resort, providing adults a great opportunity for a bit of nightlife. Everybody's got to have an opportunity to get out once in a while. And I think that that'll be a fantastic opportunity for adults. And what's important to know is I think this is going to open up more opportunities for the area. We've already started to get interest from other, from some out-of-town sports uses. And I'm talking about, like league play, not anything major. But what we're seeing is that these opportunities, redoing Old Town and Wilton Rancheria, are starting to really spurn some growth in the area. And there's another opportunity that I'll talk about here in a minute that is really making excitement on the south side. As for schools, we're located within the Elk Grove Unified School District. And the Elk Grove Unified School District is a top performing district recognized throughout California and the nation as a leader in education. Academic achievement takes place through classes that are rigorous, relevant, and bring strong relationships. Elk Grove Unified Schools focus on meeting the needs of each child. This focus includes college and career preparation, wellness, and safety. They have an average annual enrollment of 63,000 students and more than 6,000 employees. Elk Grove Unified is the 5th largest school in California based on student population and is ranked as one of the best. The district operates 42 elementary schools, 9 comprehensive high schools, 9 middle schools, 4 alternate education schools, including a virtual academy, special education school, adult education program, and a dependent charter school. 67 schools in total. And Elk Grove Unified School District really goes the extra mile to make education available to all of our youth. Now, parks make life better. If you recall, I told you earlier that my father was a landscape architect for the city of Sacramento for 30 years. So growing up, parks were where I would spend my time. And think of it, for all of us, they're a great place for us. I think most of us likely have some fantastic memory that happened in a park, right? It's a place where we've had fun. It's a place where we meet a friend. It's a place where we might sneak a kiss, splash, dance, reflect, watch, and enjoy nature. Parks make life better. And in Elk Grove, we have 100 parks making life great under the management of the Councilmember Community Services District. Now, the CSD Parks and Recreation Department provide parks and programs to the Elk Grove community. The CSD's award-winning park system and services are critical contributors to Elk Grove's livability. And in fact, the CSD's Parks and Recreation Department owns and manages over 1,000 acres, including 100 parks, corridors, creeks, and trails. And together, these lands provide a park system that's well-designed, walkable, and appreciated by the community. In terms of public safety, I want you to know that Elk Grove values public safety, and it shows. While other cities across the United States have experienced an increase in violent crimes, thankfully, in the city of Elk Grove, we've decreased. We recognize this doesn't happen by accident. And as such, our city leadership has prioritized support for public safety, and we will remain committed to ensuring that all, and I say all, Elk Grove residents are safe in the community and at home. The reality is that our residents expect excellence, and our public safety agencies, the Elk Grove Police Department and the Councilmember Community Services District Fire Department, continue to meet and exceed our expectations. I'm going to drill down just a little bit on Elk Grove Police Department. Under the leadership of Chief Albright, they provide law enforcement and policing services to the city of Elk Grove. They have an authorized strength of 146 sworn officers and 108 civilian employees. And the department responds to approximately 52,000 calls for services each year. Some important points. Robbery is at a 5-year low in 2020. It's down 18% since 2019. Property crimes down 13%. Violent crime down 32%. And of the 1,743 arrests in 2020, use of force was used in only 53 arrests. That's 3% of the time. And they're committed to continuous improvement. In fact, yesterday, I had a conversation with Chief Albright, and he provided some interesting insight with this quote. He said, you know, you don't have to be sick to get better. I know that our Elk Grove Police Department provides excellent service, but I also know that they're committed to getting better and better and better. So I'm thrilled about that. As for fire, right, for more than a century, the Councilmember Fire Department has provided the finest emergency response and fire prevention services to the citizens and visitors of Elk Grove, Galt, and the surrounding southern Sacramento County communities. The dedicated men and women of that department are committed to providing extraordinary service to their community through prevention, preparedness, and emergency response, and thrive to exceed expectations at all times. They are prepared to meet the needs of the district that they serve. Excuse me. So in terms of employment, our largest employer is, of course, state and local government, with emphasis on the Elk Grove Unified School District. Of course, Apple is a fantastic place to work here in Elk Grove. There are a number of other opportunities in Elk Grove, but I think one that I think is new that should be highlighted here, an emerging opportunity, is Kubota. And you may have seen that in the news. In fact, it just came to City Council last week. We are working on getting new jobs into the area. We're working on sealing the deal with them to get them moving forward. They'll be located on the south side of Grant Line. I think that'll open up some other interesting opportunities for development along Grant Line. And as the Capital Southeast connector continues to move forward, I think that southern area is going to become a very, very viable opportunity for all kinds of opportunities in the future. So let me see. This is where it's going to get a little bit dicey. There we go. The planning department was kind enough to put together a slide here about the residential development projects. I want to jump over these as quick as I can. I know that there's a lot of them here. But let me start down. Let's see, where is it? Fieldstone North. Okay. Fieldstone North includes 391 homes, one park lot, one open space preserve lot. Street improvements are nearly complete and the construction of single family homes has begun. Fieldstone South includes 131 single family lots on 28 acres at the south end of the East Elk Grove specific plan. Madera South, which is right over here, located within 1,900 acre Laguna Ridge specific plan, Madera South project approved 460 new single family lots and home construction began in the spring of 2019. Sterling Meadows, where are we with Sterling Meadows? Here we are. Sterling Meadows consists of 200 acres located on the north side of Camera Road, approximately 1/2 mile west of Grant Line Road. It allows for the development of up to 1,184 residential lots, including 984 single family lots, and includes 2 park sites totaling about 18.5 acres. Several phases are currently under construction, offering a variety of housing types. Milestone, where are you hiding, Milestone? There we go, right here. Milestone will be a new residential community featuring all single-story house plans. The site totals 50 acres with an 11-acre school site, a 4-acre park site, and 10 acres of open space. Up to 121 new homes will be built at that site. Sheldon Terrace up here, up to 175 new homes will be constructed. Let's see, Poppy Keys, where we are, Poppy Keys. A request to subdivide about 61 acres into 267 single family residential lots. Sheldon Farms North, here we are up here. A request to subdivide about 80 acres in order to develop about 55 acres with up to 391 single family residential units, about 5 acres with up to 126 multifamily residential units, and about 5 acres of commercial and 10 acres of parks and open space up here in Sheldon Farms North. Whoops, and I didn't want to go there. There we go. All right, Creekside Estates. Where are you hiding here? That one I haven't seen. I'll find it in a second. Creekside Estates, it's a request to subdivide approximately 9 acres into 14 single family residential lots. This request is going to require a rezone from agricultural residential 5 to low density residential 4. Bruceville Meadows, there we go, Bruceville Meadows, subdivision residential construction in the 331 lot. A total of 10 floor plans are proposed, ranging from 2,163 to 4,254 square feet. Mendes subdivision, tentative subdivision map to subdivide plus or minus 80 acres into 216 single family residential lots, 2 office lots, a school lot, a park lot, and other lots for drainage, greenway, and landscaping. 42, McGarry Ranch, single family residential subdivision with 227 lots. Sheldon Park Estates, 45 large lot homes, and 57 Madera South, Lot A subdivision, 73 homes. So as you can see right now, we've got a lot that is approved or under construction. There are many that are currently for sale down, throughout the city. And I think what's interesting to note is that there's even more down the pipeline. So to give you a little bit of a preview into the pipeline, the city has done a lot of, has been working a lot with development opportunities. The Laguna Ridge specific plan has opportunities in the later stages, and the Southeast policy area has infrastructure ready and waiting development. With the recent update to the city's general plan, the city council approved study areas that represent the future of the city. The first projects that will annex into the city within the study area are Elk Grove Crossing and Bilby Ridge. Elk Grove Crossing, a 320-acre specific plan, has closed the comment period on the notice of preparation for the environmental impact report and is moving through the entitlement process. Bilby Ridge is currently under application for a 500 plus or minus acre specific plan. So both of these projects remain significant residential components, along with jobs and services that will provide opportunities for continued growth in Elk Grove. And I want you to know, of course, that the city council remains committed to growth that enhances the quality of life and the future of the residents of Elk Grove. I'll park it there because I think I might be close to my 20 minutes here, and I'll open it up for some questions.
Thank you so much, Councilman. Any questions from the audience? And Councilman, I think we did lose your visual, but we can still hear you. But any questions from the audience?
Oh, do you want me to? I can, let me stop the share. How about that? Is that better?
No, we cannot see your picture, your face on the screen for some reason, but we can still hear you. We'll continue. Any questions from the audience?
Yeah, hi, Councilman. This is Anthony Navarro. Really great details. Like I could tell you're very passionate about Elk Grove. Appreciate all the great insight. I was just curious in regards to the development going on. So I grew up in the Camden Passage area, and I always wondered, I'm like, how come no one never, built a new development like that again, like around lakes and new custom homes? Do you see anything like that on the horizon, or is there anything like that on the footprints right now to build a new community like that? Maybe back in like in the Elk Grove area, like by the Elk Grove Boulevard or Grant Line, where there's more real estate to work with?
So we're not seeing much of that right now, and most of it here in within Elk Grove is infill. For myself, I live in Camden myself, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, very cool. I grew up right there on Allister Way, right in front of the lake. So I loved it. It was a great environment.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, I live off West Camden, so I mean we're not far away, right?
Very cool.
Yeah. No, what's interesting is I think we just had this conversation when we were talking about an application the other day. Is I would love to see all of Elk Grove look like Camden, right? I mean, it's beautiful. Of course, not everyone, unfortunately, can afford it, right? And although housing prices, as we all know, they're going up, but we also have to have a mix of different inventories, of course, right? Different products. We haven't seen anything coming that looks something like Camden, but we are hungry for that, and we would absolutely love to have something like that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'll think of you every time I walk down by the lake now.
I might run into you sometime.
All right, fantastic. Hope so.
Absolutely.
And Kevin, we do have a question that came into the chat. It says, can you address the 390 plus acres that were just annexed, and if they will be for residential, industrial, or commercial, or a mix? And do you have a time frame for the 300 plus acres for development? Sorry, 390 acres for development.
All right. I'm familiar with the 100-acre annexation. I'm confused about the 319. Maybe I missed a memo somewhere. But in terms of the 100 acres, that would have been what we were going to use for, at one time, a sports complex. However, that didn't pan out well. And so what we decided to do is to sell that to, part of that to Kubota. And that's what I had mentioned earlier about generating new jobs down there. They'll have like a Western region headquarters out here. And so, like I said, we're working on signing off on the final deal for that. I think you expect to see that within the next year or so. You see Sheldon Farms right now, probably.
Correct.
Now you should see Elliott Springs. Okay, thanks. Thanks for holding with me through there. So you'll see Waterman Road where my cursor is, and then Bond Road down to the south. This is Elliott Springs. I'm not sure why my slides aren't transitioning. There we go. And so, yes, this is what's going in at that location. You're going to find single family homes along with to the south, southeast. There will be a what do you call it? Elder care, elder residential area. And at the corner of Bond and Waterman, you will see a gas station with a self-storage in that area.
A quick question on this. Are they using the previous plans from the builder before?
From the Silverado project? See, that's what it was called before. It was Silverado. The answer is yes.
Actually, is it okay if I hop in? This is Marty Eckert with Elliott Homes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're partially reusing the Silverado. I should say we're building on the Silverado plans. So in the first two units of the project, the not active adult component, we have all new house plans, and they're 3 of the, I think, total of 8 plans are showing on the screen. There's a total of 390 lots in this area. And then in the active adult component, there's approximately 290 what we're calling patio homes. And we're still working through the final design of those homes, but they are, yes, they're building on what Silverado developed with the architect, kind of bringing them up to date to reflect the current market. And then there's also going to be a 125 unit lodge. And we haven't determined the exact program yet, so it could be independent living, it could be some level of care.
And the reason I'm asking, because Laguna West, you've got Stone Lake, and different parks like Valley High Country Club, right, that have HOAs. I think that there is a desire for that. Is that something that's out in the future?
So interesting. I didn't hear the first part of your question, but I think in general, your question relates to more homes with HOAs is what your question. Okay. Well, so interestingly enough, just what was that, 2 nights ago at City Council meeting, we approved Sheldon Grove, which is an RD7 off north side of Sheldon Road. We approved that with CCNRs and an HOA.
Okay.
So there is a number of questions. People, some people are for HOAs, some people not for HOAs. But I think there's certainly an argument to be made that just like we want variety in our housing stocks, we want variety in options of HOA and not HOA. So I think that I think in general, the appetite for HOAs seems to be increasing. You might know that better because you're in tune with the market. I'd be certain, if there's any studies particularly related to what the industry sees as HOAs, demands for HOAs, I would certainly love to have that. That would be helpful in informing decisions.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
So let's see. This question, I think, are there multifamily units going in? Was that specific to a project or is that in general? I think. So I guess
Just in general.
In general. So there absolutely are multifamily units that are coming in. I can think of 3 off the top of my head right now. one off Maritime, one off of Bruceville, and one off of, it's down in District 4. I can't remember the specific street. But there are multi-family units coming in. And some of them are, in fact, all of those three have components for affordable housing as well.
Like with the multifamilies, are they, you mentioned an affordable component, but are there also in those areas more high-end amenities, luxury type things, or is it just mostly geared towards affordable?
Let me get back to you. And this is Janice?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let me get back with you. Those are relatively new applications, and I'm not certain where they are right now in the process. But I do know that they're coming in and they're being relatively fast-tracked. Okay.
Hi. I have the one that says, can you address what is at the corner of Bilby and Bruceville? Is it a school, that two-story building that's near the dead end at Bruceville and Bilby?
Ooh, let me pull up a map because my visualization is not working out right now. Let's see if it'll. Oh, okay. So Bilby and Bruceville?
Yes. Yes.
Bilby and Bruceville. See, this is when it's nice to have the smart people on the phone. You're talking about the
southwest corner.
Right.
It's a two-story building that has a landing on the Bruceville side of the street that's like stair steps up, but it's a two-story building.
Yeah, I have an inkling of what it is, but I'm not gonna commit to it without going back and asking. I'm sorry, I don't remember what that application was.
That's okay. And then the lot on Sheldon Road and Power Inn, the big empty lot that would have been a grocery store and commercial, is that going to be some kind of a residential?
Yeah. Okay. So that is Sheldon Grove. That's what I was referring to earlier. And that it went to City Council, went to us Wednesday night. It was, to be clear, while it is zoned as an RD7, it is actually RD 6.18. We are restricting the number of dwelling units to 122. It will be single family homes. It will be, well, what was the other? And there will be CCNRs and an HOA.
Thank you. And I have two other quick questions. The restaurant on the border that was torn down recently, do you know what's going to be going in on that?
Absolutely. I don't remember the name of what it is, but it is, it's Nash's Chicken. I had a slide for that, but I took my slides down again. Go figure. Nash's Chicken.
Raising Cane?
Raising Cane, thank you.
Okay. And then the building that's being built in the Costco Center, the huge one that's the cinder block one, what is that going to be?
The building that's what?
In the ridge where next door to Costco gasoline.
Oh, okay. Well, so that is, on that one, I get to be purposefully obscure about that answer. It would be an innovative grocery, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
That's all I'm really able to say.
Anybody else have any other questions? Any additional developments in Laguna West and Stone Lake?
The ones that I demonstrated, the one that I had showed, are the ones that are currently have applications in or have been or are ready to go to construction. Those are the only ones that I'm aware of at this time.
Okay. And then the last one is any plans in place to preserve rural Elk Grove?
Any plans in place for rural Elk Grove relative to new homes?
Preserve the rural.
Country life.
Oh,
We're
preserve-
from Elk
Building and
Grove.
building and building and building, and our agricultural community is suffering.
Gotcha. I hear you now. I didn't hear the preserve part. So being the kid that grew up in rural Elk Grove, the answer is we want to preserve the nature of rural Elk Grove. That's why we have the planning area there, the special planning area.
So, in regards to the Old Elk Grove parking, is there any, and then just because, it seems it's always so tight getting through or going down there. Is there any projects or anything like that as far as, I wouldn't say necessarily a parking structure, because I don't know if that would fit into the Elk Grove, down Old Elk Grove. But just any parking coming up where it's nice and easy to get in and out.
Softball answer. Love it. Yes, absolutely. So part of the Old Town Plaza reconstruction, as well as the railroad project, adds parking spaces along Railroad. There is we recently got a grant from, US grant actually, that provides for streetscape improvement along Elk Grove Boulevard, which provides the opportunity to add more parking. So yes, that was an easy one. Thank you, Elk Grove Lions over there. Okay, and I think I got them all out of the chat.
Wonderful. Any additional questions for the councilman?
Great job, Kevin. Thank you.
This
Great
is
job
Cornel-
on the hot seat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a
I
lot.
appreciate it.
This is Cornelius with the BIA. I do want to clarify, there was some comments about HOAs earlier. The BIA's policy on HOAs is that we generally oppose cities that enact HOAs citywide for all new development. We recently had that issue in Rancho Cordova. But if a builder or a developer wants to have an HOA on their project based on consumer preference and their needs with their clientele, that's totally appropriate. But citywide policies mandatory on HOAs we oppose, but it's based on consumer preference, we're okay with that. Thanks again so much, Kevin, for all that you do for obviously your previous past of serving our country, all that you do in the business world. You understand our business, which is great, and all that you do for Elk Grove, making it a great place to live, work, and play. Thank you so much for speaking to us today. And thank you again to our sponsors, Chase Home Lending and Ready Home Energy. Thank you so much for selling Elk Grove, one of the best cities in our region. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.